Archaeologists have discovered a huge ancient city hidden underground in Mexico, which may give
The sky as it is today. They depicted the night sky from 12,000 years ago, the exact era of the Younger Dryas, a global cataclysm that reshaped Earth. A spiral path traced from our solar system into the Taurus constellation, pointing to a dense region of interstellar dust called Chianhal, the Sky River. The texts described travelers who came in light, Bakab Chan, the Sky People, and the maps were instructions, not just navigation. The theory became impossible to ignore. These beings arrived during the collapse of Earth, genetically engineered humans with Sequence X473, and constructed the 300-foot machine as a safeguard. Humanity itself had been altered, preserved, and designed to maintain a system beyond comprehension. The Maya ruins were a surface layer of a project that spanned the cosmos. Even now, the system remains active. The descendants carrying X473 may unknowingly interface with the machine, a living network waiting for activation. And the Sky People? Perhaps they are already returning, watching, or preparing to interact with the world they once intervened in. This wasn't history. This was a cosmic experiment, an interstellar message written into DNA, stone, and metal, and it's still humming beneath the jungle, counting time on a scale that dwarfs humanity. X473 appeared in regions of DNA once dismissed as junk, but it wasn't junk. The sequence followed a repeating, mathematically precise pattern mirroring the Fibonacci sequence. It wasn't mutation. It wasn't evolution. It was code, deliberate, structured, engineered into their very biology. When exposed to ultraviolet light, the DNA emitted a faint biophotonic glow, wavelengths normally seen in bioluminescent marine animals. This biological anomaly was not inert. It interacted with light in a way no human genome should. Even more astonishing, the patterns in X473 corresponded exactly with the spiral glyphs etched into the chamber walls. The DNA itself was a living archive, encoding knowledge in a language of mathematics and geometry. It became clear these individuals were not just humans. They were living libraries, designed to carry information far beyond what any civilization had recorded. Humanity had not discovered this knowledge. It had been implanted, preserved, and hidden for millennia. The more the scientists studied Sequence X473, the stranger it became. Patterns embedded in the DNA weren't random. When mapped, the geometric sequences mirrored the glyphs on the chamber walls, spirals, stars, and cosmic symbols, aligning with almost supernatural precision. But that was only the beginning. The team compared the DNA patterns to ancient artifacts, jade tablets, metallic discs, and even the star maps etched onto the limestone door. Every single artifact, every spiral, every curve, they resonated with the exact mathematical ratios found in the genome. The anomaly didn't stop there. Electromagnetic readings from nearby structures revealed a faint but steady low-frequency pulse. When converted into numerical ratios, the pulse matched the sequence embedded in X473. DNA, glyphs, and machine signals all converged into one system, suggesting a design so advanced that no pre-industrial civilization could have created it. The realization was chilling. These weren't isolated mysteries. They were components of a single massive mechanism, a combination of biology, architecture, and cosmic engineering. The Maya ruins were merely the surface layer of a much larger, incomprehensible network. And yet, despite all the evidence, no one could determine the system's purpose. Was it a message, a warning, or a machine waiting to activate? The alignment between living DNA and ancient structures implied something far older, something that had been monitoring, waiting, and surviving in silence for more than 12 millennia. As the team expanded their research, they discovered something that defied explanation. Traces of Sequence X473 were still present in living humans. Small isolated highland communities in the Yucatan Peninsula carried faint fragments of the ancient genetic sequence. These weren't ordinary villages. The elders spoke of being guardians of the old blood, passing down oral traditions for centuries, warning against intermarriage with outsiders, not from prejudice, but to preserve something sacred hidden within their lineage. Their rituals, cryptic chants, and ceremonies suddenly made sense. They were unknowingly maintaining the survival of X473. Laboratory tests revealed subtle physiological anomalies. Cells containing X473 exhibited accelerated tissue repair, heightened neural memory activity, and unusually high immunity to certain infections, traits that had persisted for millennia, quietly shaping the lives of these descendants. The connection between past and present became undeniable. The DNA wasn't just a relic, it was alive, functional, and interacting with its carriers in ways modern science could barely comprehend. What had been preserved in the chamber under El Mirador had spread, endured, and remained dormant yet potent, a bridge between the ancient, impossible past and the present world. Even the elders recognized the chamber glyphs when shown enhanced images. They called them the breath of the sky, confirming that the knowledge carried by Sequence X473 was culturally remembered, encoded, and sacred, surviving beyond written history. While geneticists traced the ancient code through living descendants, remote sensing teams uncovered another layer of the mystery, a massive symmetrical ring buried just miles from the chamber, hidden beneath layers of ash and limestone. Measuring roughly 300 feet across, it was no natural formation. Core samples revealed an alloy composed of titanium, vanadium, and iridium, fused into volcanic glass at temperatures exceeding 3,000 degrees Celsius, a level of metallurgy impossible for any known pre-industrial civilization. Even more unsettling, the ring was humming. Low-frequency electromagnetic pulses radiated from it every 11 minutes, like a heartbeat. The pulse pattern, when analyzed mathematically, mirrored Sequence X473 encoded in the ancient DNA. DNA, glyphs, and machine signals all converged into one system, suggesting a design so advanced that no pre-industrial civilization could have created it. The scientists speculated wildly. Was the ring a cosmic beacon, a genetic trigger, or even a control system? Could the living descendants of X473 act as a biological interface, unknowingly powering or activating the machine? The possibility was chilling. Humanity itself might have been integrated into a system millions of years in the making, lying dormant until now. Even the nearby jungle seemed to respond. Instruments fluctuated unpredictably, compasses spun, and faint vibrations ran through the soil. The pulse was stable, yet undeniable. It was watching, waiting, and perhaps commanding, a machine engineered not merely for humans, but through them. The artifacts, the DNA, the chamber, the machine, none of it fit within human history. And then the star maps etched on jade tablets revealed something extraordinary. Carbon dating confirmed the remains were over 12,400 years old, far older than the Maya civilization itself. At first glance, the skeletal structure seemed ordinary, part of known indigenous haplogroups. Mitochondrial DNA placed them within familiar lines, but as the deeper genomic sequencing began, researchers realized something was profoundly wrong. Specific portions of the genome refused to align with any known human or animal DNA. Standard error checks, contamination tests, and reruns all returned the same result. It was as if the code itself had been written to be unrecognizable. The anomaly, later labeled Sequence X473, appeared in what was previously dismissed as junk DNA. Yet this sequence wasn't random. It followed a repeating, mathematically precise pattern, a Fibonacci-like progression encoded in the very structure of the double helix. And then, under ultraviolet light, parts of the DNA glowed faintly, emitting a wavelength normally seen only in bioluminescent marine life. Researchers double-checked everything. It made no sense. Nothing in known biology could explain it. The DNA was part human, part something else entirely, and it had survived over 12 millennia without a single sign of decay. Even more shocking, when compared against global genetic databases, faint traces of X473 were found in small, isolated highland communities in the Yucatan Peninsula. It wasn't extinct, it was still present, quietly persisting through generations, carried unknowingly by those who preserved ancient customs and oral traditions. Let that sink in. A genetic signature, older than civilization itself, silently walking among us today. Great. We'll continue to Section 2, Myth plus Science Fusion, Credibility Bait. This section will anchor the mystery in scientific methods and real locations, blending plausibility with mythic undertones. It will introduce the archaeological setting and the hidden chamber, keeping the tension high and including a mini cliffhanger. The team wasn't looking for something impossible. They were part of a restoration program at El Mirador, one of the largest ancient Maya cities deep in the Petén Basin of northern Guatemala. Their mission was straightforward: scan collapsed temple foundations and map the underlying structures using ground-penetrating radar. But the instruments picked up something strange. Buried more than 40 feet beneath the pyramid, a perfectly circular void appeared, a shape nature doesn't make. At first, it was assumed to be a natural cave, but as excavation began, layers of stone revealed a pattern far too precise for ordinary construction. Smooth blocks, cut with mathematical precision, were bound together with a mysterious adhesive harder than modern cement. The doorway was massive, a single slab of limestone engraved with symbols unlike any Maya glyphs. Some resembled pre-Olmec forms, others seemed entirely alien, spiraling and star-like. The team noted subtle magnetic anomalies, as if the slab contained metals unknown to the region. Even the air itself felt off, unnaturally cold and silent. It was clear this chamber was not part of any known civilization, and yet it existed, hidden beneath the ruins of the Maya heartland. Instruments and scientific tools could only describe it, they could not explain it. Carbon dating and isotopic analysis suggested a timeline far preceding known history. This was where myth met method. Maya legends spoke of beings descending from the stars, of guardians who preserved the secrets of the underworld. The scientists had stumbled upon a discovery where myth might not be metaphor, it could be encoded in stone and DNA alike. After days of careful excavation, the limestone slab finally yielded. A hiss of compressed air escaped from the sealed chamber, carrying the faint scent of something ancient, untouched by time. The researchers stepped inside a circular room about 23 feet across and immediately noticed the walls were coated with black, glass-like material. It resembled obsidian, yet it absorbed light instead of reflecting it, making the space feel like a void. The temperature was several degrees cooler than the humid jungle outside, and a complete, unnatural silence blanketed the chamber. In the center, 3 individuals were seated cross-legged on stone pedestals, surrounded by jade ornaments, polished metallic discs, and crystal fragments. Their preservation was extraordinary, flesh and bone perfectly intact, defying tropical decay. At first, the team assumed artificial head binding had elongated the skulls, a known Maya practice, but bone density and symmetry suggested genetic alteration, not ritual deformation. Carbon radio tests confirmed their age, 12,400 years before present, predating all known Mesoamerican civilizations. The artifacts themselves were puzzling. Symbols on the walls didn't match any known writing system.
Some glyphs formed spirals, others appeared star-like, almost mathematical in design. Instruments malfunctioned intermittently, magnetic readings fluctuated as if the chamber itself resisted scrutiny. Every detail, the geometry, the preservation, the strange glyphs, signaled this was no ordinary tomb. It was a place of purpose, deliberately hidden, encoded with knowledge far beyond human comprehension. The remains were transported to the lab, where standard DNA tests began. Mitochondrial DNA confirmed haplogroup OE2, common among indigenous populations of the Americas. Everything seemed normal until the deeper sequencing began. Certain segments of the genome refused to align with any known human or animal DNA. Standard error checks, contamination tests, and reruns all returned the same result. It was as if the code itself had been written to be unrecognizable.